Hey everyone, welcome back to LightHearted. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Britton. Today's episode is going to kind of be a tough one, but I think it's a really important one for us to talk about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This will definitely be a heavy-hearted episode, so if you have little ears listening around, you may want to pre-screen this. As this episode is titled, we are talking about miscarriage today.
I just wanted to take a minute to acknowledge that if you've experienced any loss or if you're walking through it right now, or if you're just kind of afraid to talk about it, I totally see you. I completely understand because I've also been there. It's like I've been there recently, so I completely understand. But yeah, you are seen, and hopefully you find some peace and comfort here with us today. Yeah.
This is something that affects so many women, and we don't talk about it nearly enough.
Mm-mm.
There's this silence and this stigma, like you're supposed to grieve in private and just move on. But the truth is, miscarriage matters, your grief matters, and your story matters.
Okay, so in today's episode, I'm going to share a bit of my own story, and we'll talk about why miscarriage is so hard, why it's so important to talk about, and how we can start breaking that hard silence together. Because we truly believe that nobody needs to go through life alone. No one needs to go through hard things alone. Before we really get into it, though, I thought I would share some statistics. You guys know I like a good number. So 1 in 4 recognized pregnancies ends in miscarriage. And they think that number is higher because including very early losses before you even know that you're pregnant. Mm-hmm. So that could be more like half of pregnancies, but they've counted it as 1 in 4 recognized pregnancies. 80% of miscarriages happen in the first trimester before 12 weeks, which is crazy. And then the risk of miscarriage drops significantly after a heartbeat is detected or after the first trimester. That's pretty cool. Most often, chromosomal abnormalities cause the miscarriage. So it's 50 to 70% of them are caused by that. And then it also just talks about the emotional significance of them. So about 30% of women who had a miscarriage showed symptoms of post-traumatic stress, anxiety, or depression up to 9 months later.
Wow.
Which is a long time.
Yeah.
That's a long time for your body to go through it. And then over 40% of people who have experienced miscarriage say they didn't feel emotionally supported or they didn't know where to turn for help. So we just really felt like it was important to talk about it so that you have some resource and you know you're not alone. Okay, I just want to start kind of by sharing my own story because I know how isolating it can feel. So I've had 2 miscarriages, which I know there are women who have had so many more than that. Yeah. The truth is I really didn't know how to grieve them. I still don't know if I've actually fully grieved them or anything, but it just is definitely a quiet loss that doesn't always get the space that it needs.
Yeah.
People don't always know what to say, and sometimes we don't even know how to talk about it.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about it today.
I feel like it's such a taboo thing. We just don't talk about it. I'm grateful and not grateful at the same time to have known a lot of people that have had miscarriages. It wasn't something I didn't know of when I was even a child. I just knew a lot of people. We have a big family, and so my mom went through miscarriage, and I had cousins that went through, and it's such a sad thing. But I'm glad from an early age I understood what that was.
Yeah.
Talking about your story a little bit more, because I'm sure people would be curious to hear if you're willing to talk about it.
Yeah.
So you found out you were pregnant both times before you miscarried, obviously. How many weeks were you?
So the first one I measured 6 weeks, but I made it to 8 weeks.
Okay.
So it looks like it was 2 weeks before that.
Yeah.
I had lost it. Yeah.
Yeah. Was both of them like that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I felt bad for the ultrasound tech having to do it because something in me just knew, so Jordan and I went away for the weekend to celebrate and go be happy. And I just remember we were in our hotel room and I too much information. I'm so sorry. This is why we give the little ears, I went to the bathroom and something came out and I was like, that is our baby. And I know it. I just knew it. And so, yeah, starting from that point, I was like, we need to get an ultrasound sooner. I just know that that's what it is. It was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I did feel bad for the ultrasound techs because, you know, like they have to deliver the crappy news.
Yeah, that would not be fun.
And I think that was, like
hard.
that would be a hard job to have. Yeah.
I feel like it's hard too with something like that because when we go through hard things, and I'm not trying to compare this to like everything else, but when we go through hard things, a lot of times it's private and like there's really no way, like you may, like you said, like you miscarried on your own.
Yeah.
But like you have to go to the doctor and have that kind of public like
the confirmation of a sad thing.
And like just have to be there with someone else.
Totally.
And I feel like that's hard.
Yeah. I will say like my techs were so nice about it though and like so gentle where they were like, hey. And like I appreciated that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure they see it.
If it's 1 in 4 technically, like
Yeah,
I'm sure they see it all the time. They handled it really well. And then my doctor, I just want to like shout out everybody because like her first question like after everything had happened was like, how are you doing emotionally? How are you doing mentally? And I was like, what the heck? Like I've never had a doctor ask me that. Like that's so cool that like that was her first priority was.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird, but awesome.
Not like how are you like physically feeling or
it was like, how you doing? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. Like here's when you can try again. Like it was like, where are we at?
I love that.
And I was like,
especially
oh my
for
gosh.
people that probably see that a lot. Like
yeah, it was awesome.
Could you share like your personal experience on how miscarriage affected you emotionally?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so we're gonna get into like kind of a backstory here. But like I've shared this before and I'm really open about this. It took me 5 years to get pregnant with my son.
Right.
And like that was the freaking long haul, like worst 5 years ever. I did get a dog out of it though, so that was nice. Yeah. But like, you know, we had to like I was on Clomid for 3 rounds and like finally got pregnant. And like thank goodness I didn't have to do IVF or anything. But I feel like getting pregnant was hard. My pregnancy was really hard. I had preeclampsia starting at 18 weeks. Like it was not good. And then like I had an emergency C-section, like very traumatic.
Yeah.
And so then I like, it wasn't safe for me to like get pregnant. And then like I did pray about it and was just like, I feel like I want more kids. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. And
like something in me just said it was going to be okay. And so then the first time I got pregnant really fast. And I was so excited because I was like, oh, this is going to be like the healing pregnancy, right? Like I'm going to get pregnant. I got pregnant really fast. I hope it's going to be a much easier pregnancy. I hope that, you know, like I can just wander into the hospital for my scheduled C-section and have a great day.
Yeah.
Right. Like I was hoping all these things. And so then I think it was kind of like the loss of all of that hope where it was just like, man, like this was supposed to be the one that like kind of like emotionally fixed the first one for me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like where it was like, okay, it's gonna like this one's gonna be okay. Yeah. So I think emotionally that was harder because I put so much pressure on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like when I lost the first one, way TMI guys. Thank you. Super duper duper TMI. Okay. It was Thanksgiving Day. We went to a friend's house for lunch and everything. And like, I was in the process of like miscarrying already. So like, I was just kind of dealing with that. But then everything has to come out at some point.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And on Thanksgiving, we've started this new family tradition where we go see a movie on Thanksgiving Day because nobody else goes and it's awesome. So you eat a bunch of food and then you go to the movie theater.
I kind of love that.
It's kind of awesome. But I gave birth to everything in the movie theater bathroom, like a 14-year-old. Like, and it just made it even worse.
Yeah.
It just was too much. Yeah. So emotionally, I think like I put too much pressure on it. And then all of the circumstances around it were just weird. Yeah. And so I've taken a long time to recover from it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was just the first one.
Right.
Yeah. So then like the second one, I think it just like prolongs the healing process. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm sure they're both equally difficult, but going back, like your second one, Was it harder because you were like, oh my gosh, this is happening again? Was it like the same, or was it like, okay, I've been through this, I know what, like, this sucks, but like I know what to expect?
I think it was definitely more the latter,
Okay.
where it was just, okay, I know what to expect. I know how I'm feeling. I know exactly what this feels like. I know how long it'll last. But then also, I've heard so many people say this, like after their miscarriage, that like the next one, they're just like on pins and needles the entire time until that baby's in their arms.
Yeah.
You know, and so for me, I didn't like write it off, but it was just kind of like a, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah. Like, oh, yep. Like that makes sense. That could happen for sure. And so I just wasn't attached to that one
as much,
I guess. Yeah.
That makes sense.
It was very like, my brain was protecting me, but
yeah, because the first one, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So like first one had a lot of pressure on it. Second one was just like,
we'll see what happens.
We'll see. Yeah.
So I think one thing that I think about a lot, and I'm sure a lot of other people struggle with and try and figure out, is how did you know it was like you were ready to try again after your first one?
I really like that question. I think that's going to be so personal for each person. For me, like mentally, I just started feeling like it was okay. And like obviously the physical healing process too had to.
Right. Yeah.
You have to make sure everything's out.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So that part for me was like, okay, like mentally I feel okay. I would be prepared for another loss if I needed to be. But I did kind of set a limit, like, so like my husband and I were talking and I was like, hey, I think I can handle 3 miscarriages. Like I can handle 3 of these. And then like after that, I can't handle anymore. And so I think that's kind of, like mentally I was like bargaining with myself a little bit, where I was like, okay, how many times could I handle this? Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. I hate that it happens so often, and that like people probably are just like walking into church or walking down the street or walking through Walmart and like you have no
idea,
clue in the world. Yeah. Yeah.
One thing I think is interesting, a lot of people that miscarry, I shouldn't say a lot, but like I hear there's some people that are very strict about telling people that they're pregnant because, you know, if they miscarry, they don't want everyone to know about it. Yeah. And then there's people that are like, no, like I just want everyone to know. And then if I lose the baby, like, you know, I'll have to tell everyone, which would be so hard. But then you also have people to support you. So like, what's your personal view on that? Like, how did you feel about that?
You know, I keep my circle pretty small anyway. So I really didn't tell anybody that I was pregnant, but I did tell more people that I lost the pregnancy.
Okay.
And I think that's because like through the years, like we've all been through some hard things.
Yeah.
And I definitely am somebody who gets through it easier when like my circle is around me.
Yeah.
You know? And so like obviously I have my husband and he's awesome. He's super supportive and like he really like was just really supportive. And then you were so wonderful. We've talked about this before. You showed up with a basket of everything that I love in this world and just like really made me feel better. And then one of my other friends, like she showed up with like a blanket and a Diet Coke and like, it was just like all of these comfort things. And so it wasn't just like it wasn't just getting gifts, but it was like, okay, like I have people that like, if I'm having a really crappy day or like, I just want to talk about it, like I can now think of 4 people that like I can call immediately and get some help. Yeah. So yeah, I think telling people the big news, I wanted to wait until I felt safe just because of all of my infertility stuff anyway.
Yeah.
But I think once I lost it, I needed my friends.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you guys are there. Like, yeah, like you guys showed up and I love it.
What do you think are some common misconceptions about miscarriage that you could address?
I like that. I think a lot of women feel like guilty.
Yeah.
Because I think they feel like it's their fault. And even like medically, I know that's not true, but I would even catch myself being like, oh man, like did I lift a weight too hard? Did I move those stools too fast? Like, it was just like dumb things that I was thinking of where I was like, did I do this? Is this my fault? And so I think like, unless you're literally in like back alleys doing meth, like it's not your fault.
Right.
Like this happens 25, we're putting this in air quotes, 25% of the time, theoretically.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like it's not your fault.
No.
And I wish everybody could hear that.
Yeah. I feel like people will know things, like scientifically know things about all kinds of stuff. And then when it comes to you or going through something, it's like
it's like all of like the logic,
all of it
flies
goes
out.
away.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think like scientifically, like it's not your fault. We
Right.
see there it's like 70% come from chromosomal abnormalities. So it's possible like it wasn't even a viable
Right.
option. Like, yeah, it wouldn't have been a viable pregnancy anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when you're in it, you're like, this was my fault. I did this. Yeah.
That's so hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Has your mom talked to you much about like her miscarriages and how she felt?
Not super detailed. Like I know a good bit, but she's a pretty, like she just doesn't like talk about everything all the time.
Yeah.
And not because she doesn't want you to know. It's just not how she is, which is fine.
She's just like a keep moving forward
she is.
kind of woman. I love it.
Yeah. So she had a tubal pregnancy.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know a ton about that one,
I
but
bet that was painful.
oh yeah, she could have died. I do know she said that like she fell asleep or something on her parents' couch, and like her dad was like, we're going to the emergency room. Like she 100% could have. Yeah.
So they took a tube. One of her tubes is gone.
It's crazy.
Oh my gosh. But then she had kids after that.
She did a lot.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a miracle. That's so cool.
And then her and my dad's first pregnancy together, she actually lost her baby at 16 weeks. Yeah. So it was a little boy. His name was Daniel. Yeah. Full blown, like.
That's a whole
it was
baby.
A full baby.
That's a whole baby.
Are there any like resources or coping strategies that you found to be really beneficial to you?
Yeah. And it's going to be really weird. And then I have a fun story to go with it.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
So for me, I don't know why, but I just felt like I needed like something for myself to like understand that like they were here and they were real.
Yeah.
Because you don't come home with a baby and because not very many people knew about it.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like,
yeah,
like it didn't exist. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I found a tiny ring that had like the baby's birthstone on it, like what it would have been based on the due date. Mm-hmm. And so like as soon as I got that ring and put it on my finger, I don't even wear it anymore because like I feel like emotionally that took care of me while I needed it.
Wow.
Yeah. So like I got myself this little ring with a June birthstone, popped it on, and like it was seriously like boom, okay, they existed. Like it was immediate. It made me feel so happy. But the funny story to go along with me getting myself a ring is that kids are just so funny. Okay. And like they're not very delicate and they just really say whatever they want. But it kind of helped me to cope with it because like I cope through dark humor a little bit. Mm-hmm. I like to laugh things off and pretend I'm okay. And so this was one of those things that like helped me to laugh it off a little bit. Which I'm not like recommending everybody needs to do is like just move on fast. But but I was talking to my 6-year-old son because I'm, pretty open. I'm like, hey, I feel like crap right now. I'm not acting like myself. Here's why. Mm-hmm. Like I had a baby. Now I don't have a baby. Mm-hmm. Boom. Like here's what I did for myself. I got myself a ring. It's on its way here. What do you need?
Yeah.
And he was like, can I get like a stuffy or something? And so we looked online and like found a really cute little stuffed bunny that has something cute on the stomach that just like, talks about like how you can hold the bunny when you're feeling sad or whatever. So then we go to the grocery store, like pretty much immediately after that, we're like checking out, getting our groceries, and my sweet 6-year-old starts chatting it up with the cashier. And I'm just kind of waiting to see what happens next. And he says, hey, guess what? My mom was supposed to have a little boy or a little girl, but they died. So she bought me a bunny instead.
I love kids.
I love it. I love that that was his thought process.
Yep.
And I literally didn't know what to say. The cashier didn't know what to say. So I was just like, yep, have a great day. Took my receipt and I left.
That cashier's traumatized.
I didn't know what to say.
Oh my gosh, kids are so
they're
funny.
so hectic. Like, yeah, I was like, well, I'm really glad that's what you got out of that conversation. Okay, let's go.
So did you tell him, like, after you lost the baby, like, did he know about the pregnancy beforehand?
I think he did.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he actually did. I'm trying to remember like the exact timeline. I'm pretty sure we had like just barely told him, but we didn't get him too excited.
Yeah.
Just because I don't know why. I just didn't get him too excited. But yeah. And then like where it was like, okay, I'm just like laying on the couch for 9 hours a day with like a heating pad on my stomach. Like I had to say something to him, and I couldn't just be like, Mommy feels like crap. Like, like Mommy's emotionally unstable right now. Like I had to give him a something. Yeah. And like, I think everyone knows their kids better than anybody else. Right. Yeah. And so like I knew that he could handle it if we talked about it the right way. Yeah. And so I chose to tell him. Yeah. So, yeah.
All right. I have one more question. How has your experience shaped your views on pregnancy and parenting moving forward?
Yeah, I think about my friends who have experienced lots and lots of losses, and like even just one it's a lot, but I just really admire them even more for like being able to get up every morning and go through their day. I mean, I don't want to be a cliche, but like it makes me extra grateful for the kid that I do have because I know how freaking hard it is. Yeah, like I think I'm just like I'm thankful for my circle. I'm thankful for my son, and like wish the losses weren't there, but like I'm thankful for the life that I have. Okay, so I kind of wanted to talk about why we don't talk about it. And like feel free to put your thoughts in here too, because I think a big part of it is that people don't know how to talk about it because, like you said, it does feel really taboo. Yeah. It feels like a scary topic to talk about. Like there's discomfort, there's fear of, saying the wrong thing. And I just want to put this out there that like nobody ever said the right thing during because there was no right thing to say. So like it's unfair to like put the pressure on other people to say the right thing. Yeah. Cause like there's nothing right to say.
Yeah. I think grief is such a hard thing to deal with and to help people walk through. Like you just don't know what to say in general when people lose people. But I think when it comes to, losing a person that was, here, my grandma passes away. Yeah. Someone has things to share about her. They knew who she was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, oh, I remember when she did this,
or I remember this.
I love that.
And when it comes to miscarriage, like, you don't have that. No. And so it's like, what do you say?
Yeah. Just like, sorry.
Yeah,
you're so right. I also think that like we just kind of feel this pressure to keep moving forward. Yeah. And like life goes on, and which is true to an extent, right? Where it's like, okay, everything can't just stop, and like you might have other kids to take care of. You might have a job you have to get to. Like, so I understand like life can't just stop, but I definitely think there's some added pressure of just like, okay, well, like they weren't even here. Keep moving. Yeah. Yeah. I also think like we don't like making other people uncomfortable with being sad. Yeah. Or like with our grieving process or whatever it is that we have to do. And so I think we often try to keep things to ourselves to protect the people around us.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, and like you mentioned, like 1 in 4 pregnancies end in miscarriage that we know of. And like, I think there's such a lack of education. Like people just don't realize that that's the case. I mean, millions of women are going through it, and somehow they feel like they're the only ones.
Yeah. Like that's so isolating. That sucks. Yeah. And then, like I mentioned, there's just like the feeling of guilt, right? Like you just sit there wondering if like you did something wrong, if your body just failed you in some way. Yeah. So yeah, like it's just like, it's pretty heartbreaking. It's a painful reality to live. I definitely don't think it's something we should carry shame over, but for some reason we do.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about why sharing these stories is so important. Because as painful as it is, silence makes it much harder.
Yeah. I think when we don't talk about miscarriage, we just kind of send this unspoken message that it's something that should be hidden, or that it's something that we should just have to deal with on our own. And I think that, like, not to, go back to previous generations, but like the people that came before us, like they really were just like, we don't have time to stop and grieve these things. Like we have to keep going.
Yeah.
Right. But I think now we're transitioning into like a time where like we can stop and acknowledge that the people around us are hurting, and that like we can take care of them and we can be there for them.
Yeah.
So when we share our experiences, through podcasts like this one or on your own social media stuff, like when you share your own experiences, you tell other people that like it's okay to feel their feelings, and that they're also not alone, and that it happens to people around them, and that like you don't have to grieve in silence. And I think that's a really powerful message to send to the people around, like around your own circle even, or like following you on social media, to just be like, hey, this happens to me too. And it sucks. And like, if you want to share your story, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of power in sharing.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. And I'll just say this, like, if you're listening, I know we just talked about sharing, but if you're not ready to share your story yet, like, don't let us make you do that. Like you don't have to share it publicly or even privately if you don't want to. But I hope you know that your story absolutely matters, and that your pain is real. So whether you say it out loud or not, what you went through is real and does matter. So if you are going through this right now, or you have gone through it, here are some things that I wish someone would have told me. Number one, I wrote these down. Number one is that you don't have to move on quickly. I definitely, like we talked about, I think there's pressure to just like get back to life, get back to taking care of everybody around you, but you can take as much time as you need. Not to plug a previous episode or anything, but I think our talk about anxiety with Laura is good, because then you can kind of gauge like when it's time to get professional help. And I think that applies here too. Yeah. Is like, take the time you need, but if it's completely impacting every single day, like maybe it's time to like get a therapist or something so that you can grieve appropriately. Yeah. Number two is that there's no right way to feel. So some days you're going to feel okay, and then some days you're going to be really sad. It's going to just hit you out of nowhere, and both are okay. And like, if you're feeling good, it doesn't make you a terrible person. And if you're feeling bad, it doesn't make you, lazy or whatever. Like either one's fine. Number three is to talk to somebody who understands. So whether that's a friend or a therapist or a support group, you should voice your feelings and process out loud if you need to. And then number four, which is, my ring, is to do something to honor your loss. So if that's writing a letter or planting a tree or, lighting a candle. Just something.
I saw there's this girl I follow on TikTok. I'll actually link her down below. She has a play cafe in Virginia. She opened it because she lost a baby, and she just didn't know how to like really move forward. And, then she had her son after, and they have a wall in the play cafe that had like a rainbow on it, and people could send in like donations, and then they would put like, like for your instance, they would put like baby Alan, they'd write it and then hang it on the rainbow.
Oh my god.
And it was just full of
babies. That's
and
so
it's just
cute.
like,
oh, I'm crying. That's so cute.
Yeah.
I really love that.
I just remember seeing that and being like, wow, like that's
like, what a cool way to honor.
That's so cool.
Honor that.
Yeah.
That's cool. I love that. That makes me cry. I cry a lot on this podcast. In my normal life, I'm not a crier that much, but on here I am. Man, I really love that. So yeah, like that, kind of like whatever helps you create a space for your grief.
Yeah.
I think that's good. So yeah, like for me, it was like putting it all into, a ring or a bunny for my son, or a rainbow on a wall. Like, I just really love that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So one thing that helped me cope was focusing on the things that I could do. And this is going to sound so toxic, okay? But it was like the things that I could do since I wasn't pregnant. Mm-hmm. And so like, I'm not a sushi eater, but it's like, if sushi is your favorite food and you want to go get that, like do that. Like, eat deli meats and cheeses, take the hottest bubble bath on the planet. So just like things like that. Like mine is energy drinks. And so it was like, okay, I'm going to crack open an Alani.
And that's kind of why I put Alani's and like a Jersey Mike's gift card in your basket.
You did do that. Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, it was like, those are two things that I wasn't able to do.
Yeah.
And like now I can. And like,
that sucks.
But like, at least those are two things that I really love.
Yeah.
And so, so I think like that was a coping strategy as well, along with
that makes sense.
Other things that I did. But like, I think that helped a lot to just focus on happy things that I could do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ride roller coasters at Disney World.
Legit. That was a huge highlight where it was like, cool, I'm going to go on all the rides. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And if you're listening right now and you know someone, so like you aren't personally going through it, but you know somebody who is going through a miscarriage, please, for the love of everything good in this world, don't underestimate the power of just showing up and being there.
Yeah.
Like, because seriously, like the people who rallied around me, even though like it probably didn't seem like much to you, like how often, okay, I told this already. I'm obsessed with sesame seeds. I love them. You showed up with 4 freaking bottles of sesame seeds in this basket. It was a basket of giant, like lots of other stuff too. But she included like all my favorite things, including sesame seeds. And like I have 1 jar left. And I still see like my jar of sesame seeds in the pantry. And I'm like, man, my friends really rallied around me. Like, so don't underestimate the power of just like existing for somebody and just being there. Because that like, I think about it often, like more often than I should probably. I'm so thankful.
I think it's so hard because like for me, I'm like, I feel like I did nothing.
No, like you did everything. I love it.
But it's like, there's just, you don't know what to do, you know? So
totally.
So if you're struggling to help someone that you love, here are some things that you can do. Say something even as simple as, I'm sorry and I'm here for you. Avoid toxic positivity. So don't say things like, oh, everything happens for a reason, or at least you know you can get pregnant. Yeah, don't say stuff like that.
There are no words, Rachel.
Don't do that.
If you've said stuff like that, there's still time to apologize. Not to me. No one said that to me, thank goodness, okay? Because I don't know how that would have gone over, but
not well.
Those hurt a lot.
Yeah, that hurts way more than it helps, so don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay, and my last thing here is just to check in more than once. I've talked about this with grief in general. Remember that grief does not end in like a week. So keep checking on them, and I mentioned like don't every single time you see them like, how are you doing? I know you lost your baby. Are you okay? Like don't do that because then you're going to bring them down when maybe they aren't.
Yeah.
But just checking in and listening, because if they're struggling, you're probably going to hear things, even if they don't outright say that, they're going to, in some way, shape, or form say something that you can be like, yeah, and how are you doing with that? Yeah. So just be paying attention.
Yeah. I think that's really good advice. Mm-hmm. If there's one thing that I personally want people to take away from this episode, it's this, okay? You are not alone, even if it feels like it. Your story deserves to be heard. Your grief is extremely valid. And your experience matters. And if you feel like sharing your story, whether privately or publicly, I hope you know that your voice can help someone else feel less alone. So we break the silence together, one story at a time, whether that is private or public.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us. If this episode spoke to you, we would really love to hear from you. You don't have to share your full story, but if you just need someone to say, we see you, we're here. You can reach us on Instagram at LightHeartedPod.
We also have a lot of fun over on TikTok. And we would love for you to just come and join the craziness. All of those will be linked below.
Yep. And don't forget, it's okay to not feel lighthearted. This podcast was recorded on Buzzsprout in West Virginia.